We're covering Satipaṭṭhāna, and last week we covered up to sampajana. That means being aware of what you're doing. This week we're going to be covering patikula-manasikare. That means seeing repulsiveness in our day-to-day life. So taking the sign of the repulsive, it means you see the true nature of things in our life. But before we talk about that, we should have a good idea of why it is we meditate. So we should have an understanding of why we meditate. What's the reason we meditate in the Buddha's teachings? And we should have an answer in our mind that someone here meditates to come to disenchantment. That means they come to see suffering as suffering. They come to see non-self as non-self. And they come to see impermanence as impermanence. So what's the reason we want to come to those things? Any ideas? So the reason should be, we're coming to those things to achieve liberation, vimuktiya. In order to come to escape from samsara, that means to escape from birth and death, is why we meditate. Now, what's the reason we've been continuing on in samsara though? What's the reason? What does the Buddha teach? Sunitra, do you know? What's the reason we're being born again and again? The reason is, so do you guys remember the Four Noble Truths? Do you remember that? So the Four Noble Truths are the very, very basic principles of Buddhism, of the Buddhist teachings. And those Four Noble Truths are in every single discourse that the Buddha taught. Those Four Noble Truths are that there's something called suffering. So the first Noble Truth is suffering. These are very, very important. Like, these should be like very, very ingrained in your mind. If someone wants to learn the Dhamma, they should have at least an idea of what the Four Noble Truths are. So the first Noble Truth is suffering. What is suffering? Suffering means that there are things that happen in our life that we don't like. For example, we grow old. Now, none of us want to grow old, but that's something we have to face. Growing old and then getting sick. No one wants to get sick, but we end up getting sick. And then everyone here, every single person here will one day die. So death is also another aspect of suffering. And then having to deal with people that we dislike. Maybe there's people in our life that we don't want to deal with, but we have to deal with those people. Then there's things that we want. We all want to live in a nice place. We all want lots of money. But just because we want something, we don't always get that. So not getting what you want is also a part of suffering. So someone can even think, I want to escape from suffering. But just because you want that, doesn't mean you can achieve that. You have to create the cause. So that's the first Noble Truth. The first Noble Truth is what? Suffering. And then the Buddha taught that there's another Noble Truth. The second Noble Truth is the cause of suffering. So what's the cause of suffering? The Buddha taught the cause of suffering is craving. It's because we crave for things that we suffer. And last week we talked about an example where today a lot of people in this world died. Hundreds of thousands of people died. But none of us are crying over them right now. But if someone dear to us, someone close to us passes away, then we'd end up feeling sad. So what's the difference? The difference is, for those people, we have attachment and craving. Because we have that, then when that thing disappears, then we get sad. We end up suffering. So craving, same thing with getting old. We all want our skin to stay nice and smooth and not get wrinkled. We all want our hair to stay black. We all want to live on. But Just because we want those things, because we have a craving for those things we don't end up getting them. Because of craving, then the suffering arises. So the cause of suffering is craving. Then the Buddha taught a third noble truth, and that is the end of suffering. That means how the cessation of suffering. The cessation of suffering you guys should know the answer. What's the cause of suffering? The cause of suffering is craving. If the cause of suffering is craving, then what should be the end of suffering? Getting rid of craving. So if someone gets rid of craving, then they can achieve an end of suffering. Then the Buddha taught, well, how does someone get rid of craving? That's how he taught the fourth noble truth, which is the path to the cessation of suffering, the path to ending craving. And that is the Eighth Noble Path. So I mentioned this because the Buddha teaches in Anguttara Nikaya, in many of the discourses, that there are some things in our life that cause us to crave a lot, that creates a lot of craving within us. So if something creates lots of craving within us, that means causes us to crave it. What does that end up creating for us? What does craving produce? Craving creates suffering. That's the cause, right? So if we end up craving after many, many things, then we end up, eventually what will we get? We'll end up getting suffering. Does that make sense? Is what I just said clear? So then the Buddha taught that there are specific things that have the potential to cause more craving than other things. For example, let's say do you guys know what the biggest danger to a monk or a nun is? Do you guys know? Have you ever heard of it? The biggest danger to a monk is the opposite gender. The biggest danger to a nun is the opposite gender. Why? Because the Supreme Buddha teaches that there's no form, there's no rupa, there's no form that causes more craving, that occupies a male's mind, than the form of a woman. And there's no form that occupies or causes craving in a woman's mind than the form of a man. So for form, that means some things we see with our eyes. Amongst all the things we see with our eyes, every single form, out of all those forms, for a male, the thing that causes the most craving is the form of the opposite gender. Everyone understand? So from all the things we see in our life, we could be watching a show, we could be watching animals, we could be whatever it is we watch, whatever, all the things we take, let's take our day, every single thing, out of all the things up till now, up till whatever age you are, out of all the things you've seen with your eyes, out of all of those things, the thing that causes the most craving is the opposite gender. So out of all forms, then the Buddha teaches, out of all the things we hear, all the sounds that we've heard, whatever your favorite song is, whatever you listen to, out of all the things we've heard in our life, the thing that causes the most craving by sound is the sound of the opposite gender. So if you're a male, then the opposite, woman. If you're a female, then a man. So out of all these sounds, those are the sounds that causes the most craving. And then the Buddha teaches, out of all the smells in the world, think about all the things you smelled, all the flowers, all the perfumes, all the bags, out of all these smells, the smell that causes the most craving is the smell of the opposite gender. And likewise, the same for taste and touch. So out of all these five senses, what's the thing that causes the most craving? It's the opposite gender. Does that make sense? So out of all the things you see, out of all the things you smell, hear, taste, touch, all of those things, out of all those things, the more things that create the most craving or create the most suffering is what? The opposite gender. Does that make sense? Vishaka, you understand? Everyone understand? If you guys don't understand, you have to tell me. So then what's the biggest danger in our lives? I'm not talking to a family life. I'm saying if there's someone who wants to end aging, sickness, and death, then for that goal of vimukti, for that goal of ending suffering, what's the biggest danger we have now? That is?
The opposite gender.
The opposite gender. So for a monk, the Buddha teaches the biggest obstacle is not being able to meditate, is not being able to have food or residences. It's none of those things. The biggest danger to a monk is the opposite gender. The biggest danger to a nun is the opposite gender. Why? Because that person has all five senses. Maybe that person can steal you with your voice. Maybe that person can steal you with their smell. Maybe that person can steal you with their form. So out of all five senses, that person has the biggest danger. So then the Buddha taught that if someone, let's say, if someone practices mindfulness of body, if someone practices 𝗪𝗪, then they can work towards getting rid of attachment, disenchantment with this form, with rupa. That's why it's called 𝗪𝗪. It's reflecting on this body. And out of those, the Supreme Buddha taught a meditation called 𝗪𝗾 𝗪𝗂𝗪. And that is seeing the reality of this body. Now, there's no way we can cover this in one class. So we're going to cover this in 2 classes. But today we're going to be learning the basics of that meditation. So in your life, so before we talk about that, the 𝗪𝗾 𝗪𝗂𝗪 means we see the true nature, or we see the repulsiveness of this body. Now, before we talk about this, there's something you should understand, which is by practicing this meditation, you shouldn't get a feeling that your own body is disgusting. If you feel that way, then you're practicing this wrong. Why? Because this meditation is not to get a feeling of disgust, is to get rid of disattachment. So getting rid of attachment is the goal of this. Because even in the Buddhist time, some monks practiced this incorrectly, and they ended up wanting to end their own lives. So they were so grossed out, they were so disgusted with their own bodies that they didn't want to live as human beings, because they thought, wow, being a human is very, very disgusting. So they wanted to take their own lives, and a lot of monks died that way. That's why after this meditation, the Buddha teaches ānāpānasati. But again, we're covering all this because, well, since we're doing Satipaṭṭhāna, and because there could be someone here who in their past lives has practiced asubha, has practiced this kind of mindfulness. Then when you practice this, this will develop very, very quickly within you. So we don't know who that person is. For someone, it could be practicing elements, it could be practicing ānāpānasati, it could be practicing the contemplations of the cemetery. Those are just extra things. But today we're going to be learning how it is we reflect on the repulsiveness of this body. And what is this called? 𝗪𝗾 𝗪𝗂𝗪. So here the Supreme Buddha teaches, this is how this person thinks. He thinks, again, a person looks at his own body and he thinks in this way: from the soles of the feet all the way up to the head hairs, this body is filled, this body is enclosed, wrapped with skin. And this body is filled with many, many kinds of disgusting things. And what's in this body? There's head hairs, there's body hairs. Now I'm going to list these things. And today's class, so far, we haven't done any memorization. I haven't told any of you guys to memorize this. Today, we're going to have to memorize these parts, and this will help us in the future meditations as well. Even for elements, this will help us to practice that. So I need one volunteer, and I'm gonna assume Vishaka is gonna be the volunteer. So who's gonna memorize this? And you guys have to practice this memorization as well. She's just gonna be the one who says it. So don't be scared. But this is very, very easy to memorize. And I'll teach you how you memorize this. But this person, so first he thinks in this way. He thinks this body from the soles of the feet, that means the very, very bottom of the feet, all the way up to the head hairs, is filled with lots of impure things. There's head hairs, body hairs, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, naharu, that means nerves, veins, blood vessels, all those things. There's bone, bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, lungs. There's the large intestines, the small intestines, the stomach, feces, brain, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, tears, fat, saliva, mucus, oil in the joints, and urine. So there's these 32 impure parts. And as he reflects on this, just like, and the Buddha gives a simile here, imagine there's a bag, and this bag is filled with all kinds of different types of grain. So there's hill rice, there's red rice, there's beans. You guys can picture, imagine there's a bag with these different grains inside. There's rice, there's chickpeas, there's normal peas, all these types of grains. And then someone drops the bag, opens the bag, and then makes the stuff come out, makes the grains fall out on the ground, let's say. Then with your eyes, can't you sort out what types of grains are which? So let's say there's a bag with different types of grain. The bag falls on the ground. Then you can pick, these are rice. These are chickpeas. These are peas. This is millet. These are beans. Can't you say that? So in the same way, this person reflects on his own body and reflects on these 32 parts, thinking these are what's inside this body. Now, this week, since we're not gonna, so there's a way you practice this as a calming meditation where you reflect on these parts individually. But before we come to that, I want you guys to practice first seeing why this body is impure. Like right now, I'm telling you guys this is impure, but you guys don't have an understanding why this is impure. So today we're going to be covering the parts. In order to do this meditation, it's important for us to kind of go to biology class and have a good idea of how our anatomy is made up of. So that means we should know, like when we say lungs, where's our lungs? When we say small intestine, we should have an idea where our small intestine is in. Otherwise, your mind will get distracted. Otherwise, you can't take a nimitta. That means your mind will get too distracted to focus on the meditation. And also, since I don't want to scare you guys, this is going to be the kid-friendly biology class where I don't actually show you all the actual body parts because I don't think you guys can actually see them. You guys will probably be too grossed out to actually see the real body parts. But next week, we'll have a PDF prepared, and whoever wants to actually practice this meditation, wants to actually have a good understanding of these parts, we'll share that PDF, and you guys can use it at your own discretion. Okay, I'm giving you that, right? So today is just going to be the kid-friendly version. You guys are going to learn what these body parts are, where they are, and what the differences are. So when you say head hair, you should know head hair is different from body hair, and body hair is different from head hair. There should be a difference and an understanding in your mind of where these things are, where they're located, and what they look like. So can you guys see my screen? Everyone see my screen? So the Buddha splits head hair and body hair separately. So head hair is one thing and body hair is another thing. So here, head hair is actually, when we were learning this meditation, is actually quite amazing. But every single person in this room has a different set length that your hair will grow. So when the hair grows in your head, there's a certain time, a certain period where the hair grows. Then it's just staying at rest. So some people is 2 years, some people is 3 years, some people is 6 years, that their hair continually grows. So that year, the number, how long your hair grows, is determined at birth. That means how long your hair will turn out is based on your 𝗪𝗏. Based on your 𝗪𝗏, you might have long hair. Based on your 𝗪𝗏, you might have short hair. And this hair grows much longer than your body hair. So think about it. Your body hair, even if you cut it, will grow back to the same amount, the same length. But your head hair will keep growing. Your body hair is much thicker than your head hair. Your head hair is much softer and thinner. So there's a difference here. This body hair is, even in science, is called a different type of hair. It's split, even in science, as 2 different types of hair. So this one has a very, very long growing phase, and head hair is only located where? Your head hair is restricted. Is there head hair on your forehead? No, so it's not just on your head. So your head hair, well, I can't show it. It's restricted on your forehead. So that's one restraint. So from your forehead to your neck, there's no head hair on your neck, right? Your neck is not full of hair. So it's limited by your forehead and your neck. So in that area of your skull, that's called head hair. So now you should have an idea when you say head hair, when you close your eyes and say head hair, you should know, you should be focusing, you should have mindfulness into that area. Everyone understand? And then what's around head hair? So your head hair is on top of your skin, on your scalp. And this head hair, around it is just normal space. There's nothing around. On top of it is space. Around it is space. So that's head hair. And then there's body hair. So where is their body hair? When you say body hair, you can't just say body hair is everywhere. On your palms, there's no body hair. Is there hair on your palms? There's no palm. There's no hair on the soles of your feet. So body hair is pretty much everywhere except these locations and your head. So your body hair is separate from your head hair. When you say body hair, you should have mindfulness to the hairs everywhere on your body, and you should know that these body hairs don't grow on your hands and your feet. So you should have that kind of mindfulness. When you say body hair, you should know this is body hair. This is head hair. Everyone understand till now? Okay, then we come to nails. Now, where are our nails? So our nails, we have nails on the ends of our fingers and the ends of our toes, right? There's nails there as well. So these nails, so when you think nails, you should, in your head, this is what should come to mind. These nails are restricted by what? By flesh. These nails protrude from the tips of your fingers, and around them is flesh. On top of them is space. There's nothing. See, there's just space here. So when you say nails, you should bring mindfulness to your nails. And you should know this is nails. This is not body hair. This is not head hair. This is nails. Everyone understand? Vishaka, you understand? You look confused. You understand? Then there's teeth. When we say teeth, how many teeth do humans have normally? Vishaka, how many teeth do you have?
32.
Huh?
32.
We can't hear you.
32.
Yeah, 32. And if you get your wisdom teeth removed, like some people do, then you might have 1 or 2 or 4 less if you get all 4 removed. So normally we have 32 teeth. And we should know that these teeth, like where they're located, they're situated inside the gums, they're inside our mouth. So when we think teeth, we should be able to bring mindfulness to where our teeth are. Okay? Then there's skin. Now, when we say skin, there's a thin. If you take all the skin off your body and then you make it into the size of a ball, it's just the size of a small piece, like a lime. That's how small. If you take all the skin, you pull it off someone's body, then you crumple it all up, and it'll be the size of a lime, like the fruit. So when you say skin, that's what you're talking about. Now, when we do this meditation, you should be able to detach these specific body parts from the rest of the body. So when you say teeth, we're just considering teeth. We're not considering the gums. We're not considering the mouth. We're considering teeth. Because when you split these apart from each other, is when you can actually see the true reality of these things. Now we go to flesh. So the next body part is flesh. Flesh is all the muscle and the fat, everything flesh is just the muscle and tissue that's underneath our skin. So if someone pulled off your skin, this is what you would look like. I hope these children don't get scared, but this is what we really look like without our skin. It's just muscle, and we look gross. So all the other things on this list, so when you go down, I'm just going to give you a short review. Naharu, bones, bone marrow, all these things are things we can't see, correct? Can you guys see your own kidneys right now? Can you guys see your own heart or liver or lung? You can't see any of those things. Then look how crazy it is. Look how unbelievable it is that these 5 things, head hair to skin, are the things that trick us, are the things that cause craving within us. These 5, just up to skin. Why? These are the only things we can see. So just think about it. A bit of head hair, a bit of body hair, some nails, teeth, and skin. Instantly we think, wow, this person looks so nice. Wow, this person is so beautiful. From these 5 things, we don't say, wow, that person has nice kidneys. Do you ever say that? We don't say that. We say, wow, that person has a nice smile. Wow, that person has nice skin. Wow, that person has nice hair. Wow, she did her nails very nicely. Isn't that what we say? We don't ever say, well, that person has a nice liver. That liver is very, very big. We don't ever say that. Why? Out of these 32 parts, these 5 are the things that trick us. So this meditation splits these parts separately from the body. So think about it. Normally we say we have the idea that head hair is very, very beautiful. Don't we think that? Normally in our life, we see shampoo commercials, we see models, and we think that person has nice hair. Well, what's the true nature of hair? Let's say you take your hair, let's say you guys all have hair. Let's say you shave off all your hair. Now it's in a table in front of you. Now, when you see that hair, do you think, wow, I'm going to store this away. I'm going to put it into a nice golden case and then keep it in my drawer so I can look at it later? Do you guys do that? Do you guys store away when you guys go to the salon or whatever? Do you guys, after you get your hair cut, do you guys put it in a box and then keep it in your room? But no, when you guys go get a haircut, what do? Do you leave that hair behind with disgust, or do you take it home with you? You leave it behind with disgust. That person doesn't even touch it with his hands. The person who cleans it up, how does he do? He takes a broom and he puts it in a dustpan and then throws it away. So hair, when you take it apart, as soon as you remove it from this body, immediately it becomes disgusting to us. If someone came up to you and handed, let's say that person has beautiful hair and that person pulled off his hair and handed it to you, would you be disgusted or happy? You would be disgusted. You'd be like, I don't want that. That's disgusting. So then what's the true nature of hair? Hair, every day we lose about 100 hairs from our body. Do we ever collect those and think, oh, this is my hair, I'm going to keep this? No. When we see hair, we're disgusted. Imagine you're eating. You're eating at a restaurant, and then there's something, you feel something in your mouth, and you pull out a hair. Are you happy or upset? If hair is so beautiful, if hair is so precious, why do we get upset when that happens to us? There are some instances, for example, this happened to a monk. He was eating alms food, and he's eating a dish, and then in his mouth now you can feel a long thin strand of something. Then in his mind he thought this must be a hair, and he got a little disgusted. But then when he pulled it out, it was actually, do you guys know coconut fiber? Around a coconut there's like little strands of fiber. When you make 𝗏𝗡𝗃, sometimes there's fiber, coconut fiber. It's like hair in your mouth, but that person, he pulled out a piece of coconut fiber, and he was relieved. Why? Because it wasn't hair. So think about it. Just the idea that it might be hair is disgusting to us. Now people decorate food with all kinds of things. People put flowers, people put gold on food. But if someone put hair on food, would you be happy or disgusted? You would be disgusted, no matter whose hair it is, no matter what actor or actress's hair it is, you would end up feeling grossed out. You'd think, this is disgusting. I don't want this. So then what's the true nature of hair? Hair is something, is it pure or impure? Hair is something impure. No matter what way you look at hair, hair is disgusting. Because hair is something that smells bad. Let's say you guys go inside a sealed room. There's no dust. They clean all the dust. And then they seal the windows. And they just put you in the room and you don't take a shower. Is your hair going to still smell good after a few days? No, your own body makes this hair disgusting. Your own body makes this hair impure. So this hair, head hair, is something disgusting, is something impure. So what does this person do? He removes head hair from this body and looks at it that way. When he sees someone with nice hair, what does he do? He thinks, imagine this person just shaved his head off and made a pile of hair. Would he still feel that attraction towards that hair? Would he think this is something amazing, this is something special? No, he knows this is something that rots. This is something that smells bad. Have you guys ever burned hair? In the discourses, it says hair smells very, very bad. That when you burn hair, it curls up like a feather. So to test this, we actually did this. We took a few strands of hair and we burned it. It smells really, really bad. It's not a good smell. You guys should try it. Don't let your heads on fire, but take some strands that are falling off and try burning it. It's not gonna smell good. It's gonna smell bad. Kids don't do that. You guys don't have permission. But the adults here, you guys can try that. And you can get that idea that this is something foul and something that smells bad. So head hair is you thinking that way. Head hair is something foul. And then the same for body hair. Body hair is also things most people nowadays shave it off. Body hair is not something appealing to people anymore. Body hair is something you remove with disgust. So body hair, in the same way as head hair, is also something disgusting. And then you look at nails. And I'm just giving you basic ideas here. Don't you guys cut your fingernails and your toenails? Does anyone here save the clippings? If you do that, you're very, very weird. But I'm assuming no one here saves their nail clippings, right? I don't know, Sunitra, how old are you? Okay, I'm gonna assume you're older than 30, okay? For those 30 years, have you ever collected your nail clippings? Have you ever kept them in a little box? Or did you throw them away in the trash can? You threw them away, right? Same with Vishaka, you did that too, right? You didn't keep them, right? So why did you throw them away? If nails are so beautiful, if nails are so precious, why is it as soon as we remove it from the body, it becomes something disgusting? If that person we think is very, very attractive, that actor or actress or whoever it is, came and cut their nails and put it on your bed, would you find it attractive or unattractive? Would you find it disgusting or pleasant? You would find it disgusting. Why is that? Because nails, their true nature is that they're something disgusting. There's something foul. Nails don't smell good. Try cutting your fingernails and smelling it. It's not a good smell. It's something that smells bad. So nails are also something disgusting, that are impure. Then we come to teeth. Now, what do we say when we see someone? We say, that person has a nice smile, or that person has nice teeth. Let's say we take that person, we go to a dentist, and the dentist pulls out all their teeth and says, here, you want a nice smile? Here's the teeth. Are you going to think, wow, this is that person's smile? Or are you going to think, ew, I don't want this person's teeth? Which one? Now, some people grow old, they put in false teeth. They have, what do you call them? Dentures. When you put in dentures, sometimes they fall out. Do you go grab the dentures and think, wow, someone made a very, very nice smile here? Or you think, ew, I don't want to touch that? Which one? Ew, I don't want to touch that. Why? Teeth are something that are naturally impure, that are naturally disgusting. As we grow old, these teeth fall out. These teeth turn yellow. No matter how white and nice looking your teeth are when you're young, when you grow old, these teeth will turn ugly. These teeth will break. You'll have teeth missing when you smile. It'll be a little empty space. You'll have to get fake teeth. That's something that will happen. So teeth by nature are something that's impure. And then we come to skin. A lot of people worry about their skin. A lot of people want to have nice skin. There's some people who come as like COVID was like a blessing for them. Why? Because they can wear the mask anywhere they go. There's some people who wear the mask, they're not sick, but they wear the mask because they don't want to show their face anymore. There's some people come and then we say, why are you wearing a mask? You don't need to wear a mask anymore. What's the reason? They're scared of pimples on their body. They're scared of scars on their body. Those are all things we have because of craving. So when someone practices this meditation properly, he doesn't have to feel insecure anymore. He realizes this skin I have is skin. The skin that other person has is skin. Skin is something that changes. Skin is something that's impermanent, that will rot one day. Right now, every single moment you're sitting right now, your skin is shedding. There's dead cells. Most of your skin is really dead cells that are just staying there. And then after a while, those dead cells will fall off. So skin, if you take all your skin off, someone peels off all their skin and puts it on the table in front of you, you would be disgusted by that bloody mess. You would think, I don't want to touch that. Why? Because skin is something that's naturally gross, it's naturally impure, it's naturally disgusting. As soon as you remove a piece of skin, think even a small wound. Have you guys ever fallen and scraped your knees or arms? The very, very first thin layer of skin comes off, and then you see white underneath. That's like the very first layer. And then if the white layer gets also damaged, then you see red underneath. So that very, very first thin layer where you end up seeing white is that first layer of skin. As soon as that comes off, what do? As soon as we put a band-aid over it, we feel relieved. One, because we can't see it anymore. Another reason, because it covers the wound. So as soon as we don't see that underneath part anymore, there's a sense of relief. You can't see that actual nature within yourself. So skin is something that's gross, is something that's disgusting, something that's impure by nature. We only take it as a good sign because that's the perception we have of these things. So we should always, when someone practices this, what does he do when he sees someone? Instead of saying, wow, that person has nice skin, he takes that as a moment to practice thinking, no, if you remove this person's entire skin and put and have it in front of you, you wouldn't be happy with it. You would be disgusted by it. Does that make sense? So that's the first 5. I went through those in detail, and now I'm going to cover the rest. And you guys should just have an idea of where these things are in your body. Okay? So likewise, you should think in the same way for flesh and nahak. So this is a special one. So when we say flesh, that's the muscles and tissue, all of those things underneath your skin. And then when we say naharu, there's no actual English word for this Pali word. This word naharu means all nerves, blood vessels, sinews, anything in your body that, like even the lymph nodes, all these things count as naharu. But there's no one single English word for those things. So when you practice this, you can use any of these three words, or you can remember the word naharu. Whatever is easier for you. But just remember, even if you end up saying blood vessels or nerves, just remember when you say nerves, you shouldn't just imagine like the things that send currents through your body. You should remember the arteries, the sinews, the things that keep your bones attached. All those things count as naharu. Does that make sense? So when you practice this, if you say blood vessels, then think it includes every single type of vein, nerve, all those things. But it's easy if you just remember naharu. That way you'll remember the Pali word. Then we come to bones. So there's how many bones in our body? Do you guys know? Anyone know? When we're born, we have more bodies than when we grow up. Some of those bones fuse. So in our body, there's about 206 bones. And we should have an idea, so when we actually look within ourselves, that our body is really built up because the bones are there. Otherwise, we just be a giant blob, just a giant blob on the floor. So our skeleton is what keeps us standing upright. So we should have a good idea when we say bones, that these are the shape that the bones are in, and these are where they are and how they're structured. We should have an idea like that. So really, right now, every single person is smiling. If you guys just remove all the skin and flesh, you guys are smiling right now because we're constantly smiling. When we smile, what's really happening is the flesh and the skin is moving out of the way to reveal the bones, the teeth. So then it looks like we're smiling. But naturally, if someone removes this, it would be in the same shape. They would be just smiling constantly. So you guys won't be looking depressed. You guys will be smiling all the time. Then there's bone marrow. So inside these bones, inside specific bones, there's something called bone marrow. Now this is where your blood and other types of cells are produced. So this bone marrow is kind of like very, very fine. If you look at it, it looks like they ground meat very, very finely and they stuffed it inside something. So there's something called bone marrow within our bones. That's also a part of our body. Then there's the kidneys. This is the order that the Buddha taught this in. In some of the discourses, the brain isn't included, and it's included under bone marrow. But in some discourses, the brain is listed as a separate part. Okay, so just be aware of that. So when we say kidneys, these kidneys are located in the back. So when we say kidneys, these can you guys feel your ribs? Can you guys feel your rib cage? This rib cage goes like this from the back as well. So in the back, where there's a split here, where there's an opening here, your kidneys are placed right behind that split. So behind the liver, and it's connected to two of these main arteries. So blood flows in from the liver to these kidneys and they get filtered even more. So kidneys so if your back is hurting, it might be a kidney problem. Don't forget that. Kidneys are located in the back side. And then there's your heart. Now your heart is located near the center of your chest towards the left side. And it's behind the lungs. It's enclosed in lungs and it's closed in the rib cage. So that's protected even more. So when you guys imagine heart, you guys should bring mindfulness to that location. When you guys imagine kidneys, you guys should bring mindfulness to not to where your heart is, to where your kidneys are. Does that make sense? That's why we're covering this. So everyone understand up till now? Then there's your liver. Now your liver starts in your body. Do you know where your rib cage splits, right? Like this, and comes down. Some of the other ribs comes down like this. So feel where the rib cage starts, and then there's like a little hole. Like it just stops here. And then it's like squishy. So from the point where it stops, on your right side, that's your rib cage. So on your right side of that, where the rib cage is, from the top, so if you go from the center, that center is shorter than the ends. So wait, let me show you. So see, look, the rib cage is like this, and then it goes off like this, right? Can you guys see that? Oh, this is a good one. So the rib cage goes from this, like this, right? So your liver on the right side is located over here. So that's where your liver, and then your stomach is over here on this side. So some people say, oh, my stomach hurts, and then they show down here. So that's not a problem with your stomach, it's a problem with your intestines, okay? Get that checked out. So this is, if you have a problem here, this upper stomach area is where your stomach is, and on the right side is where your liver is. Everyone understand? Then we come to the gallbladder. So you can note that the gallbladder is located, is kind of attached to the liver, and is placed underneath the liver. So your gallbladder is what stores bile. Now, bile is a separate part that the Buddha described. Bile is something that helps, if you guys need to know, bile is something that helps digest your food. And this gallbladder, what it does is stores that bile, stores that liquid. And it's located just underneath the liver. So think wherever your liver is located near there. So the liver would be here in this case. Then we come to the pancreas. Now your pancreas is located just behind your stomach. So if your stomach is on this side, right behind the stomach is where your pancreas is. Now what your pancreas does is helps digest food in the stomach and helps keep your blood pressure controlled. I mean your blood sugar controlled. Your pancreas looks like this. It doesn't actually look this nice. It looks all these things look much grosser than you see it here. Where I said this is the kid-friendly version, and none of you guys will show up to this class again if you saw the real version. So I'm just showing you this version. This is the so you should have, so wherever your stomach is, think right behind that is where your pancreas is located. Is everyone clear on this so far? Maybe am I going too fast? Do you guys know all this already? Vishaka, you already knew this?
Not in so much detail and
Okay, so then we come to the lungs. Now lungs are easy. They go along the rib cage, and they're located right underneath the bones. So the heart comes underneath the lungs. So here you can see the heart is beneath the lungs, and they're located like this. Their shape is like this. So make sure you notice the shape as well. So when you think pancreas, you shouldn't be thinking about a kidney, okay? The shapes are all different. So kidneys look like, well, kidney beans. Their kidney beans are named after those. And the heart looks like this. The heart is about the size of your fist. And inside there's blood. And notice the shape as well. So all of these things, notice the shape. Notice the color. So the color of your liver is like dark brown. And then your gallbladder is like this. It's like a green. Looks like a slug. And then your pancreas looks like a tongue. So in singular, you say 𝗵𝗵𝗲. It's like 𝗵𝗵𝗲, when you translate that, it's like stomach tongue. It looks like a tongue. So like tongue behind the stomach. And then there's the lungs. Notice the shape. Now, really, once food passes down into the stomach, so food enters the stomach, and then it enters the small intestines first. But this is the order that this is listed in these parts that are impure. So just have an understanding of that. So then there's your large intestines. Your large intestines are about 7 feet long, and they're all curled in like this. They look very squishy. And this is where, after food passes into the small intestine, it goes into the large intestine. And inside here, all the salts and water is absorbed, and it ends up turning into excrement. So inside here is where excrement is produced. Again, it's not like this pretty picture. It looks very disgusting. And your stomach, so your large intestines begin. So here, this is the large intestines. But your large intestines begin where the rib cage ends. So just below where the final part of the rib cage is. I'll show that again. So here around this line, so this is where the liver is, right? This is the stomach. Then your large intestines go like this. It's the shape of like a box like this, like a border. And it starts along the very rim of these ribs. The ribs that are not connected to anything. You see how these are not connected to anything? So that rib cage, that last final rib, doesn't have any support. It's not connected. That one is just free. It's standing there alone. That's the easiest one to break. So that from that line is where the large intestines start, and it's in the shape like this. You guys saw it? It's like that. Does that make sense? So you guys can feel where your rib cage ends, and then go across that, and that's where your large intestine is, and in the shape of like a U, upside down U. And then there's the small intestines. Then the small intestines, so they're placed kind of squished inside the large intestines, but these small intestines are about 4 times your height. So they're about 22 or 23 feet long if you stretch them all out. So they're very, very long, but they're all squished and placed nicely and compactly inside that area, that lower stomach area. So when food comes, this is the stomach. It enters the stomach first, and then it joins and comes into the small intestine where nutrients are taken, and then those nutrients are sent to the blood. So then from here, so you guys see here at the very end, this is where it connects to the large intestine. So food enters first the stomach, then through the small intestine, then it enters the large intestine. The large intestine, see, is wrapped around this, and it's in the shape of like a little box. Then there's your stomach. Now your stomach isn't something pleasant. Inside your stomach is undigested food. There's bile, there's old food, there's new food. Those are all getting mixed. And inside your stomach, it's not very, very like nice and smooth surface, not like a dish, not like a container. Inside is very, very wrinkly. It's like a bunch of wrinkles. And all these wrinkles have like little bumps. And then there's feces. So that's whatever you eat for all these years that you've lived, every single nice, tasty dish you've eaten, what's happened to that? As soon as you put it inside this body, it ended up becoming something foul and disgusting. It ended up becoming feces. So that's something that the Buddha listed as a separate part. Now, these feces are located inside the large intestine. We talked about that before, near the end. And then there's the brain. So you might be thinking, why isn't the brain all the way at the top? But the brain here is listed because in some discourses, the Buddha doesn't include the brain. He includes it under bone marrow. And in other discourses, he includes it separately. So the brain here, where's your brain? You guys should know that one at least. Your brain is located inside your skull. Right? You guys know that? Brain is inside where? Your skull. And then there's bile. So the Buddha explains bile as we talked about this before, as what's stored inside the gallbladder. Right? And this is what helps digest food. Okay. And then the Buddha teaches that there's something called phlegm. So phlegm is something, this is separate from what's inside your nose. This is what we call it in Singlish 𝗚mme. We say 𝗚mme. So phlegm is something, like when you cough, again, it doesn't look like this pretty in this picture. It's something when you cough, it comes out. Sometimes it turns green. That's included as phlegm. And then there's pus. Pus is what we call rotten blood. So this is when you have a wound. Sometimes we say there's pus coming out. So something is rotten blood that's turned into like a white yellowish liquid, and it comes out of wounds. Then you have blood. And blood circulates throughout your body. It's red in color, and it's a liquid. Then there's sweat. And there's specific places where these sweat glands are. And is sweat something that smells good or something that smells bad? It smells bad. That's why people use deodorant. That's why people wipe away their sweat. After you sweat in your clothes, they smell bad. You have to wash them. So sweat is something unpleasant. So all of these things, you guys should remember to take them when you split them away from the body and you think about them. Then you should understand that these are something that is foul. Okay, I'm covering this very quickly because we're short on time. Then we come to fat. Now, fat is something, it's yellow. It's sometimes very, very thick, sometimes very, very squishy in certain areas, but it's yellow. It doesn't have, it's not a very pleasant yellow color. And it's something very greasy, like it's fat. You guys have seen fat before. And then we have tears. Now, tears themselves are also something impure. When we cry, we wipe them away. We don't collect them and keep them in a water bottle or anything, right? We discard them. So tears are impure. And then there's skin oil. There's something called skin oil. Now, skin oil here means when sometimes, let's say you go to sleep, and when you wake up, your face feels greasy. There's like an oil that comes out, like a thin layer of oil that's on your skin, which is separate from fat. It's not like fat. We say that as skin oil. That's also something disgusting. That's why you end up washing your face in the morning. And then we have saliva. Saliva is something pure or impure. If someone spits on us, are we happy or disgusted? We're disgusted. Even if someone sneezes near us, we think, ew, his spit came on me. So saliva is something impure and disgusting. And then we have mucus. Now, mucus is, it comes out, remember we said phlegm? So phlegm and mucus, the difference is, mucus, we're saying it comes out through the nose. It's from your nose. That's not, all those things are mucus. When you have a runny nose, that's mucus coming out. Sometimes that's clear, sometimes that's green, sometimes that's different colors. And then there's something called oil in the joints. Now there's like a special liquid that helps keep, when you move your knee up and down, try swinging your leg right now if you guys are sitting on a chair, and your leg isn't making a creaking noise, because there's a kind of like a liquid in between that keeps the joint running smoothly so that there's no friction. So it's called oil in the joints. And then finally, we have urine. Urine, as you know, is after you drink water, you have to end up going to the bathroom and end up removing urine. And obviously, it's not something pleasant. No one wants to have that touch them. It's something disgusting. So these are the 32 parts. So the urine is located in the bladder. The oil in the joints are located inside the joints. The mucus in the nose. Saliva is produced under the tongue. Under the tongue, there's two little glands, two little dots. You guys can go look in a mirror and lift up your tongue. And there's like two little ports, and that's where spit is produced. And there's also some in your cheeks. At the very, very top of your cheek on this side, there's like two little spit glands that shoot out spit and create spit in your mouth. So when you see something appetizing, immediately your body thinks, I want to eat that. So it starts producing spit in your mouth. That's why when you see something, when you're hungry, your mouth starts watering, because your body is getting ready to eat, even though you might not have bought the food yet. So skin oil comes throughout your body, wherever your skin is. Tears come from your eyes, and this fat is located really everywhere, and even your arteries. Sometimes there's a fat buildup, but mainly for women, it's their legs, and then for men, it's their belly. And then for sweat, comes through certain areas, especially like where there's like your underarms, your joints, like where there's bends under your knees, wherever there's folds of skin, sweat is produced. And then your bloods, they're flowing through your veins. So all these things, pus, there's pus in your body. There's usually when there's a wound or where there's like pimples, those all have pus. And then phlegm, again, located sometimes in your throat or near your airway. Then bile inside the gallbladder, and then these we covered. So is there any part that someone's confused on? Anything that when you guys picture, when you say bile, you should know, where is bile? It's inside your gallbladder. Where's the gallbladder? Right under the liver. Where's the liver? I don't know. Where's the liver? Liver is right where your rib cage splits into two. Those parts, right as it splits into two, on the right side is where your liver starts. So right underneath the liver is where your gallbladder is. Okay? Like this. So think wherever your liver is, that area is where the gallbladder is. Does that make sense? So anything that someone's having difficulty on? Anyone have any questions about that? Okay, so that's really, so that's all we can, the time is up. So that's all we can cover till now. But this week, so the homework is, you guys should practice first memorizing these 32 parts. Now, after I'm going to end the session, but anyone who wants to stay and learn how to practice memorizing these things can stay and learn that. I'll help you memorize that. So we're going to work on that. But this week, you guys should, if you can't stay, you guys should memorize these 32 parts by yourself. So for next week's class, you guys should have these 32 parts memorized. Okay? So memorize these 32 parts. And then you guys should contemplate on each part by thinking why it's impure. So a good time to do this is, for example, let's say you go to brush your teeth. Okay, so you wake up in the morning. Okay, so let's say you wake up in the morning, and there are times where you can practice this meditation easily. So let's say you guys are walking down the street and you see someone who's hungry. You see someone who's begging for food. Maybe at that time, it's better to practice compassion, practicing karuna, not practicing asubha. So there are certain times when certain meditations are much easier to practice. So if you see, let's say you see a ruined building. Maybe when you were younger, that building was new, but now it's all degraded and it's fallen down, it's crumbling. There you have a good chance to practice impermanence. Wow, everything changed. This has become impermanent. So asubha, this kind of patikula manasikara, thinking the repulsiveness of your body, you can practice this at specific times in your day. So right now you guys already have things to practice. You guys have sampajana, you guys have anapanasati when you sit down and meditate, you guys have loving kindness as general meditation. Those things, don't abandon those things and just pick on this one. Practice this when you have a good environment. So let's say you guys you wake up and then you first go and look at yourself in the mirror, and it's the first thing in the morning and it's not very pretty. So there you can think, wow, this body, no matter how much I bathe this body, no matter how much I feed this body, it ends up becoming disgusting by itself. Why no one came and put those things that end up in your eyes at night, right? No one came and sprinkled that stuff in your eyes. Your own body produced it. Am I right or wrong? When you guys have drool coming out the side of your mouth from sleeping so well, did someone come and put spit on you, or did it come out of your mouth? It came out of your mouth. Now, when you guys slept, when you woke up, did your breath smell fresh and good, or does it smell like flowers, or does it smell bad? Did someone open your mouth that night and then spray something bad inside your mouth? No, your own body produced that. So so that you can contemplate. So then you go to the mirror, then you wash your face, you pick up your toothbrush, and you think, why am I brushing my teeth? Did someone came and put dirt on your teeth? No, your own body made that dirty. So you can think, even yesterday I brushed my teeth. Tomorrow I'm going to have to brush my teeth. Today, right now, I'm brushing my teeth. No matter how much I clean this body itself is impure. Then when you're brushing your teeth, you can think, this body from the tips, from the soles of the feet to the head hairs, all the parts enclosed in the skin is impure. This body has head hair. This body has body hair, nails, teeth, skin. flesh, naharu, bone, bone marrow, kidney, and so forth. Then you this week just focus on memorizing the 32 parts. So list the 32 parts in your head. You can practice this verbally, and then try to bring mindfulness as you say. So when you say head hair, you shouldn't bring mindfulness to your body. You should bring mindfulness to where your head hair is located. Then when you say liver, you shouldn't bring mindfulness to your head. You should bring mindfulness to where your liver is located. So just practice that this week. Practice thinking of some kind of like taking some aspect of the body. So it could be when you're brushing your teeth. It could be when you're using the toilet. You can ask yourself, why am I using the bathroom? When you guys go to the bathroom, do gems and gold come out? Does it or does it not? Why doesn't gems and gold come out? What's the reason? Why isn't there gold coming out? What's the reason, Vishaka? Why is there no gems or jewelry coming out?
Because our body is disgusting and impure.
Why? Why isn't there gems? What's the reason? Let's say there's a cup, okay? Let's say in front of you there's a cup. And then someone pours water into the cup and keeps filling. And then eventually what happens to the cup? It starts overflowing, right? And what overflows? Diamonds and gems, or what overflows?
The water.
Water overflows. So what's the reason when you go to the bathroom, disgusting things come out? What's inside?
The food that we digested food.
Inside is also disgusting things. So the reason there's no gems and gold coming out is there's no gems and gold inside. Inside is everything that's disgusting. Whatever comes out, it's overflowing from this body. The reason why is there earwax coming out of our ears? There's no gems inside your ears, right? The reason is that's what's inside this body. So what does he do? Let's say he's at the toilet. He thinks, wow, yesterday I used the bathroom. Right now I'm using the bathroom. In the future, I'm going to have to use the bathroom. Why is it I'm using the bathroom? Why is it when I use the bathroom, the disgusting things come out? Disgusting things come out is because that's what's inside this body. From the soles of the feet to the tips of the head hair, this entire body wrapped in skin is filled with impure parts. His body has head hair. His body has body hair, nails, teeth, skin, and so forth. So you just recollect the 32 parts whenever you get a chance. And then practice memorizing these 32. Everyone understand? Whenever you get a chance to practice this kind of reflection, use that. When you're brushing your teeth, when you're taking a shower, when you're washing your face, when you end up sweaty after doing something, maybe after you exercise, you end up sweaty. Think, why am I sweating? Why am I disgusting right now? Why is there sweat? It's not something that's valuable coming out. So whenever you get the chance, practice this kind of reflection. That's your homework this week. So don't abandon all things we've learned, anapanasati and sampajana and those kinds of things, and like loving kindness. Still practice those, but now you have it's easier to practice this kind of reflection when you're using the washroom than loving kindness, because this is something it's naturally repulsive. It's naturally you see that. So when you get that chance, when you have that opportunity, practice this kind of thinking. Why? Because what does this help us do? It helps us to defend our mind from the number one enemy. What's the number one enemy? That opposite gender. And this is not saying, oh, if someone practices, their family life is going to end up getting destroyed. This is trying to control something that if someone wants to get rid of craving, they'll eventually have to practice this kind of mindset. They'll have to practice this kind of thinking. This is not going to end up ruining your family. This is something that'll help you help someone more. When someone has this kind of mindset, they don't find people disgusting. If you end up finding people disgusting, you're practicing this wrong. You end up thinking, I have these 32 parts. This person has these 32 parts. Inside both of us is the same thing. So when someone's sick, you end up helping them. You don't get grossed out. Right? When that person's coughing up, when that person's throwing up, you don't think, ew, that person has something I don't have. Right? Inside you is the same thing. Inside you is those things. So you end up helping that person. Someone who has this reflection very well practiced well can go surpass his body and help others. He won't put his body first. He'll end up putting what's worth more. He's end up collecting good karma. Like he will end up abandoning his body to get good karma. So he won't think, I'm tired now, I can't do this anymore. He'll think this body is something disgusting. It's not something worth whining over. It's not something to take care of constantly. So he puts his body second and ends up doing something meritorious first. Does that make sense? So like, let's say you guys are offering alms on Poya Day. Now you have to eat. It's 12 o'clock. And those people, you have to serve food as well. So in Sri Lanka, you offer alms. There's people that offer alms. And there are some problems. Why? Because they end up thinking, I have to eat. I also have to eat. It's almost 12. When are they going to let me eat? And people kept coming in line and asking for food. What's the reason they got upset? The true reason is they put their body first. In order to cater to their body, what do they think? I have to eat. I have to end up feeding these kidneys and lungs and heart and all these 32 parts. So based on those 32 parts, they think, I have to take care of my 32 parts. What do? They put their body first. But the person who has this kind of reflection thinks, no, and so what am I trying to take care of? Just some body hair, some skin, flesh, naharu. So, and then he abandons that and ends up, without any anger or ill will, he ends up serving the food and collecting merit. I'm just giving a small example. So that's the end of this class. We're going to end there. But if anyone wants to learn how to memorize this, they can stay back and I'll teach you that. We'll cover maybe up to 12 or 16 of the parts. Then you guys can do that after. Whoever wants to stay back, but the class is over. So today we learned the Buddha's discourses. We learned a meditation that only arises with the arising of a Buddha, because only a Supreme Buddha teaches this meditation. So if there's no Buddha's dispensation in the world, this meditation will disappear. It's not like loving kindness or compassion. Those meditations still exist, but this 𝗪 𝗪, this reflection on repulsiveness, completely disappears from the world. So if you ever want to practice this, you can only practice this in a Buddhist dispensation. So you can only get rid of craving towards that opposite gender in a Buddhist dispensation. So we practice this, we practice thinking how we should think on this meditation. In all these ways, we collected lots of merit. All the merit we collected, we share with all the devas. May all the devas rejoice in this merit. May they also have the good fortune to escape from this long journey of samsara. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We share all the merit we collected with all these lay devotees as departed relatives. May all those departed relatives rejoice in this merit and they have a good life in the next world. May they also have the good fortune to escape from this long journey of samsara. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We share all the merit we collected with our teacher, 𝗵𝗺 𝗨, who taught us the Dhamma in this era. We share all this merit with all the monks with 𝗵𝗺 𝗨, with all the monks of Mahamevnawa, all the monks training in the Buddha's dispensation. May all the monks rejoice in this merit and also have the good fortune to escape from this long journey of samsara. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We share all the merit we collected with all these lay devotees and their families and loved ones. May all these lay devotees and their families and loved ones be happy, healthy, and well. May you all have a long lifespan. May you all be able to realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Everyone chant with me. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang acchayang kamame bhante bhuripanya tathagata. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang acchayang kamame dhamma sanditthika kalika. කායේන වාචා චිත්තේන පමාදේන මයා කතං අච්චයං කමමේ සංඝ පුඤ්ඤක්ඛෙත්තං අනුත්තර සාදු සාදු සාදු. I'll chant a blessing for you all. Abhivadana Silissa Nichang Vaddapachayino Chattaro Dhamma Vaddanti Ayuvanno Sukham Balang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Minate Samijjatu. May you all be happy, healthy, and well. Theruvan Saranai Namo Buddhaya.